Hello everybody and welcome on back to another video. I am your host Oti and it's time for yet another Hetty Feather review. So, last episode, Hetty and co thought that they'd finally unlocked the vault to find the Dawn Star, but instead they ran into another door, which they've got to find a key to unlock it with. Whilst Flo manages to undercook the food, this gives Hetty the perfect opportunity to go searching for the key, which Ashok lied about being in his room. Once they find it, at the end, they manage to finally find the relic, glistening in the darkness, and it is handed to Ashok. However, Lady Grenford then shows up, and so do Flo and Ambrose. On the side note as well, Rosamond has had to go because Emily's been arrested, and she makes the very unwise decision of leaving Lady Grenford in charge of Calendar Hall, so sort of giving her a little bit of a taste of what she would have had she succeeded in Series 4. Also, Agnes and Flo are friends again, but then they're not, as she has been told to do this by Ambrose, who warned his adopted daughter to not go fraternising with the other staff members. So, without further ado, let's begin with Series 5, Episode 8. And we resume from where we were at the end of the last episode with the Dawn Star in Ashok's hands, as the monologue talks about what matters isn't being rich, but family and friends. Ambrose and Flo then rear their ugly heads, and Lady Grenford is given the Dawn Star to keep safe, much to the fear of others. Yeah, because trusting Lady Grenford is like trusting Russell T Davies today to write a good episode of Doctor Who, or any modern Western project to actually be good. Later that night, Lizzie's hands almost get caught by the spoon as her hands are lazy and she's meant to be crafting a swan out of a napkin. Then Hetty and Agnes talk about buying a palace before Flo tells her that she'll inspect every one of her swans. Right, so the swans can move now, can they? Oi, those swans are moving. Wait, someone's going to eat them. Blimey, what are you doing with that swan? It belongs to the Queen. They carry on talking about how her and Agnes's adopted mother will live, and Agnes impersonates her. Hetty then asks what if Lady Grenford was poor and will get all the hard jobs, as she then shows up behind her. However, Hetty apologises, but Grenford uses her force lightning of giving her more jobs.
If your little charade against me will continue, then you will do extra work on the Death Star. You will go to the battlefields of Endor, you will capture all the Ewoks, and you will slaughter them. Good. Then you will call me Master. And then you will die.
Later on, she's finished making a bed, and it's described as passable by Ambrose, and will tidy up all the bedrooms on the floor and go without supper. As the butler then departs into the hall, a shadow rushes past him, but he doesn't seem to notice this. Hetty is sorting through a drawer and finds the Dawn Star hidden, which she gazes upon, but Ashok is lurking behind the door. Meanwhile, later that night, Lizzie smuggles in some bread and notices that Hetty is writing a letter to Ida late in the night, but advises her to do it tomorrow, but Postman Pat won't allow it to arrive by that time. Yes, dear Mama, it's a complete waste here at Calendar Hall. The butler's an insane criminal. Jack wants to break up with me. My life's a misery. Can I come to the stunning and brave Iron Islands with you, please? Many thanks, Hetty. P.S. I also forgot to mention that we found some jewel. Might be worth $1 million. If I bring it back, Will we raise an army and take over the stunning and brave world together? The next morning, Hetty is up at around 7 a.m, but this doesn't make sense as it is in the afternoon, unless it was a joke, which it probably was. Ambrose then gives a speech talking about how there will be no more duels or tunnel or this shall be a normal, glorious and hard-working day which Cook Jenkins herself would approve of. Aye, lad, I certainly would, but not said by him.
Today will be a gloriously normal and hard-working day.
Gideon then gets himself into trouble before Emperor Grenford rushes in a panic to proclaim that the Dawn Star has been stolen. So she'll have all the rooms searched and the staff rounded up for interrogation. She also seems to suspect something about Ambrose after all this time. Like, why didn't she do this earlier in the series? Gideon almost finishes searching the bureau before getting spotted out by Grenford, finding absolutely nothing at all. In the main hall, the staff are lined up and Lizzie is worried most of all, and Ashok announces his arrival, wanting them to search for the Dawn Star. But he is told that they are under Grenford's orders now, and Hetty finds it funny how they've not searched his room yet, neither Edwin's. Ashok also feels that the two-tier Keir Big Brother police have to be called, and Grenford concurs as an arrest needs to be made, because she holds up a necklace that her mother gave to her on her wedding day. Yes, I'm sorry for the poor bloke who actually married her. And it was stolen and found underneath Hetty's bed. So Lizzie tries to defend her, but Grenford is convinced that she is the thief, as Flo glares at Ambrose. Ashok saw her steal away the Dawn Star and confesses that she had found it, but she puts it back. This doesn't help with the accusation, and she then goes to shouting point, and everyone seems to be on Grenford's side apart from Lizzie. So for old time's sake, she'll be locked up in the attic till the Rozzers arrive to take her away. Hetty seems to get tense flashbacks and tearfully makes a noise to be silenced by Grenford, who is still convinced that she's the thief. And apparently she's never stolen. So what about the birth record in the first series? And running away to get... If she was to tell her where the Dawn Star is, Grenford will put in a good word for her character. But she still doesn't know, so she leaves and we get more angry banging on the door. So it turns out that Ambrose stole the Dawn Star and Flo asks why it's got to be like this. Apparently it's the last time and Flo wants to stay at Calendar Hall. So he tells her to pack her bags and senses Lady Grenford and dismisses his adopted daughter. Emperor Grenford, however, puts the theory into practice by looking in the case. Her theory? That Ambrose is the thief, and she's right. Hetty then gets rescued by Prince Jack, who knows that she isn't the thief, and helps her escape out of the window. Grenford now knows what Ambrose is all about, and he will dispose of it, and without him, she'd have to sell it herself. And he knows that they'll both be caught out. So they strike up a deal where Ambrose will take the jewel and Hetty will go to prison. But Lady Grenford knows that Hetty won't go down quietly and it will be ensured that she never returns. Once Hetty gets down, she reunites with her colleagues and is told to hide in the barn. So she flees. Flo then lurks and Agnes warns her not to tell anyone and that true friends stick together. Grenford and Ambrose go up to find that Hetty has escaped, with an angry Palpatine ordering him to find her.
Find her, you fool!
The constables arrive and Jack dreads them looking for Hetty, who is hiding in the barn. Lady Grenford then sees her, almost knowing that they helped her. However, she threatens them both if she finds that she is right, and when she is gone, Jack rushes off. Can I just ask, why did the police officers not know that Ambrose was a criminal? I mean, doesn't that defeat the whole point of robbing Calendar Hall? He could have gone at that moment. You know? Hetty is hiding in the barn and she sees the policeman arrive, searching the area with little success.
Good morning.
After emerging from the hiding place, Jack surprises her out of nowhere and they hug before Hetty is told to run, which she seemingly doesn't want to do. But Jack wouldn't bear to see her locked up, and perhaps a reunion with Matron Bottomley would have been in order. She promises to return and the door closes. So she thinks that this is Jack and notices that a fire has been lit and she looks for an escape hatch.
Quarters saying, "Burn, baby, burn." Disco Inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Burn that mother down. Another child orphaned.
Just about sums up the whole show. Jack then returns to Gideon, thinking that Hetty is safe. But Gideon points out the barn fire, so they rush to attend. Hetty builds a staircase to help her escape, but Ambrose opens the window to assist her. We switch to Jack and Gideon and back to Hetty and Ambrose, who started the fire. But she refuses to go anywhere. He then tries to turn it around to look like Jack started the fire, which is punishable by death. So she now seems to have no choice but to run away. The boys then arrive and help Ambrose put out the fire as Jack finds Hetty's bonnet that she left behind. Grenford is updated and told that the fire must have scared her away and they'll never be seeing her again. He is given the task of selling the Dawn Star, but he has to return, so he will leave his adopted daughter Flo at Calendar Hall. She seals the star in a pouch and hands it over to him, promising to keep Flo in her sights. We go back into the kitchen and nobody is convinced that Hetty would start a fire, and Agnes has faith that she'll be okay. Flo, however, feels differently and doesn't want to see her again as she will be arrested. Ashok isn't too convinced either and asks why she'd run. Ambrose then comes in, so Jack says that if she'd have stayed, she would have been arrested anyway, and her name may be cleared, as Flo suspects that something is amiss. This makes her guilty, and they carry on as normal. Ambrose has to travel to London to deliver some papers for Lady Grenford, and calls Flo away, promising that he will be in Europe and will summon her. She's concerned about Hetty and feels sympathy for her. She's also ordered to reassure everybody that he will come back as a ruse and parts ways. That night, Gideon recounts how Hetty likes dumplings and Flo is missing her foster father. Lady Grenford then comes in and knows that the staff are do not believe that Hetty stole anything, and admits that she messed up and puts them into the trap that Ambrose is the suspect, and looks at Flo as well. Of course, this arouses Agnes to ask if he is innocent, and she covers for him. But Jack too is suspicious, and Flo leaves the room. So we end things with Hetty wandering London at night, almost getting enriched, and goes into the corner where she will spend the night listening to random noises. The ending monologue talks of Hetty doing anything to see her friends again, as we see the depressed staff and Jack blaming himself for allowing her to run away whilst Flo listens in. Then we get a well-shot sequence of Ambrose going to the auction house to see that Lady Grenford double-crossed him and has the real Dawn Star, as all that glitters is not gold. We end with Hetty on the streets knowing what matters now and sees an open door. And then in the next time sequence we see Sheila returning in a workhouse. There are some inconsistencies with this episode. How the hell would the police not be able to arrest Ambrose and Flo if they are criminals? I mean, they've got a bloody job to do. Why can't they just do it? Unless they're all of a sudden concerned about someone writing a hurty words letter to somebody. And if Lady Grenford is so clever, then why did she not manage to find out about Ambrose earlier in the series? And then Jack and Hetty have just made up? No mentioning of what's been occurring with the New York thing? Drama-wise, I thought this episode was good. And I like how they included a barn fire in this. You know, it really heats up the stakes. God, I'd love to heat up some steaks at the minute. Oh, with a frying pan. Or mint sauce as well. Or mustard. Onions. Oh, steak and mashed potatoes. Anywho, we're getting off topic here. I also like Grenford and Ambrose's chemistry. I don't know why they didn't do this sooner. And as well, Flo isn't involved in this, which I think would work for the better because, you know, if she knows, then that would compromise her position even more. I also liked it when Grenford got to shouting point because it really shows how much she really hates Hetty. And I like the ending where we have that well-shot sequence of Ambrose going to the auction house and then finding out that he got screwed over. Grenford is on nobody's side but her own, and that was definitely demonstrated in the last series, and it has been demonstrated in this series as well. But now it's time to go over to Yorkshire for Cook Jenkins's method in the making. I think that the main question from today is who started that barn fire other than Ambrose? Because summit tells me that it wasn't him. I know it. I've got my tin foil bonnet on, and I know that it wasn't him. It was summit else. Why would you be in such denial over something? It was obviously Ambrose. Besides, I could sense it with the Force, and the Force senses everything. I'll force you in a minute if you don't shut up. What do you think, Scion? Nothing, dear. I can't say anything, otherwise you'll probably hound me to death with your verbal hurty words. And I do not want some junior reporting me to Big Brother Police for misogyny. No, love. Say how you feel, for God's sake. Okay. Are you out of your mind, darling? You could see it was Ambrose. You are in denial. Hey, Private Geordie Shaw, I see you're keeping quiet in this. Just 'cause Sheila's coming back in the next episode. Well, look. It's not because I didn't win Victorian Come Dancing, alright? Nor is it because that Sheila's coming back. I've left that show and I've come up here, thank you. So why at 3 a.m. were you spotted taking the carriage to somewhere else? Well, I was on some business, you see. I've got to film the Victorian Come Dancing final. But you're not even in the competition. If you would like to leave my boyfriend alone, then that would be highly appreciated from you. And do you know anything about this, Kreia? Absolutely not. Oh, all right, I have the Stalker app uploaded on my mobile. But, it wasn't for that. It was for something else. Wait a minute. You say that you can stalk people through the Force, but yet you have an app installed on your phone. Are you a fraud or what? I am not a fraud. I am a Sith late Lord. Look, I didn't start the fire. I went to London just because I needed to go out for lunch. I fancied to go to the British Museum. Why were you there, though? Well, me and the boys from the army decided to go back and, have a catch-up. Look, I told you about this, Kreia, but yet you weren't listening. That's because I was focused on other stuff. Like seeing who started the fire. Like Cook Jenkins is. Unlike everyone else here who does not believe that this is a conspiracy theory. I tell you who it was. It was that Norman Price from Pontypandy coming all the way over to the south, just deciding to set a barn on fire. I mean, the signs are all there, you know, and he fled the scene, so he must have had a right shouting off his mother. But that doesn't explain Ambrose telling Hetty to go. Thank you, Scion. Whose side are you on here? I'm on your side, my love. Look, I know that there's only one thing we're going to have to do to settle this. Let's just leave it and talk about the rest of the episode. Other than Lady Grenford and Ambrose plotting against one another, working together, and then eventually turning one's back on one another. Well, they're both as bad as each other, I think, there. And then we seem to have Hetty and Jack making up, completely throwing away the storyline of their little argument after finding out that only Hetty's going to New York. I thought he were cold with her. Obviously he ain't now. Well, it's Christmas, so what do you expect? Well, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be New Year, or beyond. Although, to back the episode up, they are in a moment of danger, so that's the only thing they can do at the minute. Forget their troubles and just get on with it. Well, you are right there, Scion. They could have apologised to one another in that moment, but, you know, the writers for some parts seem to have borderline ADD Vince Russo disorder. Well, look, bro, nothing is as bad as Vince Russo's writing, bro. Well, bro, when I mean that, I mean was bad. Now, there's far worse writers out there, bro. Will you stop saying bro in every sentence, bro? A question that I also have for this is, why did Lady Grenford not calculate that Ambrose was the thief all along? I mean, she is surely clever, but surely one would think that the butler would be suspicious at the moment of their sighting. I mean, she managed to manipulate events in the last series, but how can she not tell in this one? Because television. They certainly do know when to showcase her actor, that's for sure. I don't think even I'd cross paths with her at some point or look her the wrong way. But now Hetty's at risk of going to prison and Sheila returning. One wonders if they'll pull a Jake Skywalker with this one. I mean, it's highly likely. I know. Must have broken her heart when I left her. But, you know, you will live in a delusional world, Gen Z. So now it's time to end Method in Making. And thank you, Cook Jenkins. And I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you all later. Ta-ra!